My child, I cannot believe you did this. Stop what you are doing right now and listen to my voice. Do not move away from this moment because what I am about to share with you is not an accident. This is not a random coincidence. This is a divine appointment set before the foundation of the world. Out of the millions of souls watching screens right at this very second, you were specifically chosen to hear these words. Your guardian angel has been working without rest to ensure that your path crossed with this exact message at this exact moment in time. You might be feeling a heavy weight on your chest. You might think that I am looking down at you with a heart full of disappointment. You might believe that I am shaking my head at your failures, thinking that you did something terribly wrong. But I want to clear your mind of those heavy thoughts right now. That is not why I am reaching out to you today. I am speaking to you with a heart full of wonder. I am speaking to you with a holy surprise that is echoing through the heavens. I am speaking to you with a beautiful shock that is moving the very foundations of the spiritual realm. Because what you did recently, you did when absolutely no one else was watching. You made a choice when your heart was incredibly tired and breaking into tiny pieces. You made a beautiful decision when simply giving up would have been the easiest thing to do. You stood your ground when walking away completely would have made so much more sense to the human mind. You kept going when throwing in the towel seemed like the only logical option left on the table. And you have absolutely no idea what that quiet, painful moment just did in the unseen spiritual world all around you. Before we go any further, I want you to pause and acknowledge this spiritual connection. Type the number 777 in the comments section right now. Do this simple act before you listen to or read another word of this message. This action is not just about leaving a regular comment on a video. This is your personal spiritual signature. This is your physical agreement with the forces of heaven. This is your activation code that clearly tells the angel standing by that you are completely ready to receive the massive blessing I am about to release into your life. All of heaven is leaning over the balcony, watching closely for your immediate response. Do this right now. Please do not treat this like just another passing message on the internet. Do not scroll away from this thinking that it does not apply to your current situation, because it does. What I am about to reveal to you right now will completely explain the heavy tension you have been feeling in your shoulders and in your spirit for the past few weeks. It will explain exactly why the atmosphere around your life shifted so suddenly and unexpectedly. It will explain why the enemy of your soul became so nervous and frantic the very moment you made that quiet choice. Something incredible happened, my beautiful child, and it happened entirely because of you. You probably thought it was a small thing. You probably thought it was totally insignificant. You likely told yourself that it did not matter at all. You convinced your weary mind that nobody noticed your struggle and that your quiet choice changed absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. But heaven does not measure importance the way the world measures it. When you actively chose restraint instead of a loud reaction, heaven noticed. When you bravely chose deep prayer instead of frantic panic, heaven noticed. When you chose to put your complete trust in me instead of complaining about your difficult circumstances, heaven rejoiced. Instead of cursing the terrible situation you were placed in, and instead of letting deep, dark bitterness take root in your fragile soul, you turned your tearful face to me. The spiritual realm responded to that decision immediately. I saw that specific moment with my own eyes. I saw the painful hesitation rising in your chest. I saw the intense battle raging inside your tired thoughts. I watched the brutal war happening between your human flesh and your eternal spirit. I saw the hot tears that you bravely swallowed down before anyone else could ever see them fall. I saw you fighting with every ounce of strength you had left just to hold on, right when everything inside of your mind and body wanted to completely let go and surrender to the darkness. And even through all of that immense pain, you still chose to do what was right. You chose humble obedience. You chose radical faith. Most importantly, you chose me. And I am telling you right now, with all the love in the universe, that your quiet choice was louder in the halls of heaven than you could ever possibly imagine. That single, painful moment created massive shock waves in spiritual dimensions that your human eyes cannot see. Powerful angels literally stopped what they were doing just to watch you stand strong. Dark demons retreated into the shadows in total confusion because your simple act of faith just destroyed their entire strategy against your life. This message finding you today is not random. I desperately needed you to hear this specific truth right now. Not tomorrow morning, not next week, but right in this very second. I am telling you this because you are currently standing on the very edge of completely misunderstanding everything that is happening in your daily life. You are right on the verge of assuming that absolutely nothing changed when you made that hard choice. But I am here to tell you that something massive did change. The very moment you did what you did, a solid line was crossed in the spiritual realm. A glorious door was pushed wide open, and the enemy has absolutely no power to close it. A beautiful blessing was released from my hands directly toward you, and it cannot be recalled or taken back by anyone. Your quiet obedience immediately triggered movement in high places that you cannot see just yet. So I am asking you to stay with me right now. Lean your heart in. Listen very carefully to the sound of my voice, because what I am about to tell you next will show you exactly why I said I cannot believe you did this. My precious child, let me tell you exactly what you did that moved me so deeply. You fully obeyed my gentle whisper, while your own heart was literally breaking into 1,000 tiny pieces. You managed to keep your mouth completely closed when you had every single right to loudly defend yourself. You stayed quiet when you could have easily spoken harsh words that would have utterly destroyed that situation or that relationship forever. You actively chose peaceful silence when your burning anger desperately wanted to speak out. You stayed calm when furious rage demanded to be heard by everyone in the room. When your human flesh screamed loudly for quick vindication, you simply turned around and walked away in peace. When your bruised pride wanted to stay and fight the battle, you softly whispered a prayer to me instead. When your tired mind was screaming with loud doubts, you bravely chose to believe that I was still a good and loving creator, even when absolutely everything around you suggested otherwise. And after all of that, you honestly thought your actions meant nothing. You thought it was just another incredibly hard day on this earth. You thought it was just another painful moment of mere survival. You believed it was just another difficult test that you barely managed to pass. But I was watching that entire moment with such deep, overwhelming affection for you. I saw you in that specific moment when you were so incredibly tired of having to be the strong one all the time. I was there when you truly felt like you had absolutely nothing left inside of you to give to anyone. I saw you clearly when you were so close to just throwing it all away and giving up. I watched as you deeply questioned whether it was even worth it anymore to keep trusting my invisible hand. I saw you when you stood quietly in front of your bathroom mirror and wept because you did not even recognize the exhausted, drained person staring back at you. In that moment, you felt so completely unseen by the world. You felt entirely unnoticed by the people around you. You felt totally forgotten by life itself. But I want you to know that I was closer to you in that exact moment than your very next breath. I was standing right there beside you, actively strengthening your tired bones. I was holding your heavy spirit up securely. I was continuously breathing fresh courage deep into your weary soul, even when you were too numb to feel my presence. You did something truly shocking to the spiritual world, my child. You completely trusted me when it would have been 1,000,000 times easier to just walk away and not trust me at all. You firmly chose personal integrity when an easy compromise was sitting right there, and absolutely no one else would have ever known the difference. You bravely chose true forgiveness when holding onto deep resentment felt completely and utterly justified by what they did to you. You chose steady patience when the long, agonizing delay frustrated your soul right to the absolute breaking point. You actively chose to believe that I am still working behind the scenes for your ultimate good, even when you had absolutely zero physical evidence sitting right in front of your face. You had no concrete proof. You had no clear sign from the sky. You had nothing to hold onto but your naked, raw faith in my eternal character. And I want you to know that your beautiful choice completely moved my heart. You often think that I am only moved by massive, public sacrifices and incredibly loud declarations of faith in crowded rooms. You tend to think that I only pay attention to the highly public displays of devotion, the dramatic emotional testimonies, are the giant miracles that make the headline news. But the truth is that I am most deeply moved by your quiet, hidden obedience. I am so deeply touched when you choose to honor my ways in total secret. I love it when no camera is recording your good deeds, when no human audience is clapping for you, and when there is absolutely no earthly benefit to your actions except for the pure joy of knowing you pleased my heart. I am deeply pleased when you deliberately choose me right in the middle of your darkest confusion. I smile when absolute clarity is nowhere to be found in your life, when you cannot even clearly see 3 steps ahead on your path. You might not have felt like a powerful warrior in that heavy moment, but you were incredibly strong in the spirit. You might have felt incredibly weak and fragile in your physical body, but you were actually demonstrating the exact kind of supernatural strength that literally shakes spiritual kingdoms to their core. I clearly saw that single tear you quickly wiped away from your cheek before anyone else in the room even noticed it falling. I leaned down to closely hear that fragile prayer you barely had the physical strength to finish speaking. I heard the one where you could only manage to softly whisper my holy name because human words had completely failed your tired mind. I tenderly watched you hold on so tightly when your physical hands were literally shaking with true exhaustion. I was there when your entire faith felt like it was hanging on by the very last thinning thread. And I desperately need you to truly understand this one fact very clearly today. Absolutely nothing you did in that dark moment was wasted. Not a single, solitary second of that immense struggle was meaningless in my grand design. Not one single tear fell to the dirty ground without me noticing it and keeping it safe. Not one quiet, desperate prayer went up into the sky unheard by my ears. You did not act entirely alone in that fiery furnace. I was actively strengthening your core while you stood your ground. I was gently steadying your racing heart while your whole body trembled with fear and sadness. I was continuously giving you fresh grace when you felt incredibly weak, pouring my loving spirit into your empty cup even when your physical senses could not detect it. And because of all of this, I am proudly calling you my faithful and beloved one. My child, as you continue to listen to the gentle sound of my voice, I want to take a brief pause here for something very important for our ongoing mission. If this specific message is actively feeding your hungry spirit right now, if something deep inside your chest is burning brightly as you hear these true words, then I am warmly inviting you to be a vital part of spreading this exact same healing light to other hurting people who are currently sitting in deep, cold darkness. There is a special link waiting for you in the comments section just below this video. When you choose to sow a financial seed into this specific mission through that link, you are doing so much more than just supporting a regular internet channel or funding daily content. You are actually directly helping me reach out to another weary, broken soul out there who is desperately praying in the dark right now. You are helping reach someone who urgently needs to hear that their own quiet obedience really matters. Someone who needs to know that their silent struggle is truly seen by heaven. Someone who desperately needs the hope that their personal breakthrough is finally coming. Your generous giving instantly becomes a powerful seed carefully planted in highly fertile spiritual ground. As my eternal word has always declared, those who bravely sow their seeds while weeping in tears will absolutely reap an abundant harvest filled with immense joy. When you choose to give, you are boldly saying yes to being an active part of someone else's beautiful miracle story. You are directly keeping this bright light burning strongly across many distant nations. You are providing the essential oil for the lamp that actively pushes back the heavy spiritual darkness in this world entirely. And as you generously give from your heart, I promise that I will continuously multiply those blessings right back into your own daily life in ways you simply do not expect and could never predict. I will beautifully bless the generous hands that actively choose to help build my eternal kingdom on this earth. I will miraculously open heavy doors for you that you honestly thought were permanently locked and bolted shut. I will pour out a level of divine favor upon your life that simply makes absolutely no logical sense to the natural human mind. Please understand that this is definitely not a strict obligation. This is simply an open, loving invitation from my heart to yours. Only step into this opportunity if my spirit is truly moving inside your chest right now. Feel free to sow your special seed through the link below to help keep this spiritual fire burning bright. Now, let me continue telling you exactly why all of heaven is still shocked by your beautiful actions. My precious child, what truly moved the entire unseen spiritual realm was not a lot of loud noise. It was certainly not some massive, dramatic public display of your faith. It was not a loud, public announcement that everyone in your town could easily see and loudly applaud. The actual thing that deeply shook the spiritual atmosphere all around you was your quiet, steady obedience right in the middle of immense pressure. You fully obeyed my voice when it personally cost you something very dear. You obeyed me when it hurt your feelings deeply. You obeyed me when it strictly required you to completely die to your own selfish desires. You bravely chose my difficult path when your wild emotions were pulling you violently in a completely different direction. You stood firm when your physical flesh was loudly screaming for quick, easy relief from the pain. You held on when simple logic strongly suggested that you should take a much different, much easier path. That quiet firmness is exactly what created those massive spiritual shock waves all around your daily life. You might have thought your choice was very small, but in my eternal kingdom, small acts of pure obedience are never actually small. Hidden faithfulness in the dark is never actually hidden from my watchful eyes. When you firmly decided not to return an ugly insult for another ugly insult, you completely broke a dark cycle that had been aggressively following your family line for many generations. Dark patterns of toxic retaliation that went back many years, several decades, or maybe even multiple centuries deep within your family bloodline were completely shattered. You broke them all in one single, quiet moment of emotional restraint. When you actively decided to softly pray instead of loudly panicking, you warmly invited my perfect peace into a physical space that the enemy desperately wanted to fill with suffocating fear. You firmly closed a heavy door to crippling anxiety that hell itself was eagerly counting on using to completely destroy your peace of mind. I want you to actively let your renewed faith have a strong, visible voice today. Please leave a comment saying, "I receive this truth" right below this video. Your massive spiritual breakthrough is actively beginning to manifest right now. I am counting down the final moments before your total release. 5. All of heaven is releasing angels. 4. Demons are rapidly retreating. 3. Your massive destiny is unlocking. 2. Your incredible miracle is manifesting. 1. Your future is activated. It is totally done. Welcome to your completely new breakthrough season.